In the book of Joshua, God's character is manifested in many ways. And one of the traits of God as a warrior is a wonderful lesson for all of us, for the people then and for us, that God is characterized as a divine warrior. And of course, Joshua, you have to read Joshua in light of the Exodus and what happens during the Exodus. And what happens during the Exodus is that Yahweh manifests himself as the divine warrior. It's in Exodus 15 when he has conquered all the armies of Egypt passing through the waters there. It says Yahweh is a man of war. So that's one of his titles as divine warrior. And so that's picked up in the book of Joshua. But how does he wage warfare? That's the key to not just Exodus and the book of Joshua, but throughout Israelite history. The high points being David and the Philistine Goliath. How does Yahweh wage warfare for his people? And it's always through unconventional means. And so this, of course, prepares us for the way Jesus, the divine warrior, the manifestation of Yahweh on earth as the divine warrior, how does he wage warfare, and how does he conquer the mightiest of his enemies, Satan, sin, and death, right? The three, Satan, sin, and death. How does he conquer the mightiest of his enemies? It makes Pharaoh look like a small, insignificant opponent compared to Satan, death, and sin. And just like Pharaoh was conquered through unconventional warfare means, it's not like the Israelites came up with 1,200 chariots. So a massive main battle tank of the ancient world. 600 chariotry of Pharaoh versus 1,200 of the Israelites. That's not how the victory was secured. It was a mighty act of Yahweh, God's intervention, that a bunch of slaves defeated the most powerful army of the ancient world. David, same thing. He shows up in the field of battle. He's just a shepherd boy with a stick and a couple of stones and a sling. And he defeats the mighty Philistine, completely adorned in full battleware, invincible giant. And Jesus does the same thing. He's going to conquer by being a servant unto death. And boy, is there a lesson there for us. In the time of Joshua, the conquest was all by God's hand. Walking around the city 7 times, what is that going to do? This is not warfare, this is worship to Yahweh. And that's how we wage warfare today. So when Paul says in Ephesians 6, we don't wage warfare through conventional means of flesh and blood, but spiritual means, this is not just a New Testament idea. This goes right back to the Exodus, Joshua, the rise of David, and then throughout the time, the monarchy. And then, of course, this speaks to us. How do we wage warfare? We don't wage warfare through the sword. We secure God's victory in God's kingdom through spiritual means.